My husband and I sold our homes and moved back in with my parents at 40. And no, it wasn't because we failed. It was because we realized we were living someone else's version of success. Homeownership and real estate investing, none of that was actually our dream. It just felt like the responsible thing to do, the smart move, the adult move. You know, we were actually happiest renting a tiny apartment, less pressure, less weight. But as we got into our late 30s, the pressure started coming in. When are you going to buy a house? Real estate is the best way to build wealth. Renting is just throwing money away. Maybe. But buying something you don't even want, that's expensive too. To be fair, both our parents had done well in real estate. I mean, they bought when homes were like less than 200K. You know, they saw massive appreciation. So when they encouraged us to buy, you know, it wasn't about control. It was about stability. It was about wanting us to be secure. And even though we weren't fully convinced, the pressure didn't stop. It kept coming up in conversations, in subtle comments, in, you know, we just want what's best for you. And if you grew up in an Asian household, you know what that means. So yeah, we gave in. We bought the home and then the investment property. You know, on paper, we were doing well. Good tech jobs, property in the Bay Area, you know, building assets. But internally, it felt tight. Massive mortgages, maintenance, tenant issues, constant expenses, you know, the 2 a.m. calls that the pipes had burst. It might have looked like we were building wealth, but we weren't actually building freedom. We were getting burnt out. We wanted to quit our jobs, but we couldn't get off the hamster wheel. Then the market dipped. Both homes dropped in value. We kept saying we'd wait for the market to recover. But eventually we had to ask ourselves, what if it's another 5 years, another 10 years? There's no way of knowing, right? And honestly, at that point, even another year felt excruciating. And so we said, screw it. And we sold, even at a loss. Because the stress of holding on to something that didn't feel right, that just felt way heavier than the actual financial hit. And then there was the stuff. More space didn't make us freer. It just gave us more room to accumulate things that we just didn't need. And before we started doing real inner work, we were on autopilot, just buying without thinking, upgrading because that's just what you do next, right? And at some point, I looked around and realized we weren't actually living in our house. We were just managing it, constantly organizing, cleaning. More stuff just meant more shit to clean. And we were swimming in it. That's what ended up kicking off our minimalism journey. You know, not for the aesthetics, but because we were exhausted. And then we made a decision that didn't look impressive. We sold everything. We downsized. We moved back in with my parents, and we bought a camper van. Is it perfect? No. Living with your parents at 40 is challenging. But lowering our expenses and releasing that pressure, so worth it. And, you know, this isn't to say that we'll never buy property again. But next time, it'll just be on our terms and not because we're trying to prove that we're adults.